Hello, and welcome to another episode of Reviews in a Rabbit Onesie, the show in which I, Dan Leith, review things in a rabbit onesie. It's the bare necessities of Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. That's right, this week we'll be putting two movies about killer bears head to head. And that is not a barefaced lie. Which brings us to movie number 1, 2015's Backcountry. This movie is about a couple called Alex and Jen who have absolutely very little in common. They go on a hike and run into a killer bear. So Alex, the boyfriend in this film, is pretty much very dislikable from the first instance you see him, making weird noises while adjusting his seat. He thinks he's very funny. He's not.
How am I doing?
Sure you want to know?
He's also very arrogant and thinks he knows best. He refuses to take a map.
Need a map? No, I know this park well.
Always take a map, you twat. He starts mansplaining flares and peer pressures his girlfriend Jen into skinny dipping. Then Eric Balfour, who you might recognise from being in everything on TV from the late 90s and early noughties, he shows up.
Yeah, hi, how are you?
Being Irish? I think this is a contender for one of the worst accents I have ever heard in a film, ever.
Coming up the trail and ran into your friend here and she invited me up for a chat.
It's really hard to work out what he's saying. In fact, it's really hard to work out what anyone's saying. Do they have bad diction? Is the audio equipment not good? Am I going deaf? I don't know. Anyway, the boyfriend, Alex, takes this opportunity to show off the fact that he's also an insecure prick. Jen has invited Irish Balfour to have supper with them at their campfire. There's a bit of tension.
You're a lucky man, Alex.
Then Eric Balfour just stands up, turns around, and starts urinating. He doesn't even walk away, not even 2 feet. Just starts pissing right by the fireplace. No, that is taking the piss. He then proceeds to continue cooking with his pissy hands, which is the scariest thing in the film so far. And then mansplains about some tourist spots. I mean, all the men in this film are dickheads.
I never needed a map.
And you soon lose respect for Jen as well for being with such a dickhead.
So then where are we?
So the movie's a very slow burn and it focuses on their relationship, which I would normally like if I gave a fuck about the characters or their relationship, which I don't. The movie continues. There's a scene where Alex has to tear off a dodgy toenail after damaging his foot. Ugh. And then there's more scenes of him being patronising and mansplaining things like berries and telling Jen that he knows where he's going.
Yeah, I've been in the park a bunch of times.
And it turns out he doesn't.
When was the last time you were sure of where you were?
That's right, they're lost in the woods. He also sees bear prints and evidence of a bear, but just denies to Jen that there could be a bear because he's a dick.
All good?
Yeah.
So you have to spend about 46 minutes watching these assholes. Then a bear shows up, and by show up I mean it pushes its face into the tent while they're sleeping, like a bear version of Freddy Krueger. It's about 50 minutes before Alex even admits to the fact that there could be a bear after they see a bear pit. Bear Pit, also a good name for a bear actor. He'd be excellent in movies like Fight Club and Fury. Sorry. So after you've sat through this movie for about an hour watching these intolerable twats, you're treated to some bear action.
What the fuck is it doing?
And my god, it is some hideous bear action.
Please move on, please move on, please move on, please move on.
I'm going to state on record that I think it's the best bear attack ever, even better than The Revenant. It's realistic, it's brutal, it's intense. I made involuntary noises and I think I stopped breathing for a minute.
What?
It's actually a pretty incredible feat in filmmaking to make me react like I did, considering I spent most of the movie wanting the bear to eat one of these cunts. But no one deserves that. No one deserves that. So the movie actually does begin to pick up here a bit. It's really quite exciting for about 15 minutes. Then it kind of dwindles again and ends like a wet fart. I mean, this movie could have been really fucking good if only it had likeable characters and better actors. But it doesn't have those things. But it does have a fucking class bear attack. What did I learn from this movie? I learned that tent tension is always intense. I also learned that a compound fracture can really compound the situation. I'm sorry, this is just terrible puns now. Bear with me. This movie is actually based on a true story, and it was shot in 16 days, and if it was a short, it would be fucking fantastic. But unfortunately, it's a feature-length movie. 2 out of 5 marmalade sandwiches. Which brings us to movie number 2, 2015's Into the Grizzly Maze. I mean, 2015 just seemed to be the year for bear films. Even Paddington was released in 2015. So yes, this is another movie about a killer bear with a surprisingly good cast. And the movie gets right to it. It's got cheap as fuck credits with an awful fucking font. But it's got a decent cast, including Bart the bear. You know you're on to a good thing when the bear actor's getting a credit. So in this movie, we're getting instant bear action, which is good after the last film. There are some hunters who've been hunting too many bears. You see them cutting off a bear's paw. I guess that's how you make a bear claw. And then Bart the bear comes and fucks him up. This movie stars James Marsden, who gets into a prostitute punch-up near the start, and Thomas Jane, who appears as a typecast cop-type character. They're brothers. They're on the opposite side of the law.
You're my brother. I won't let you go in there alone.
And Thomas Jane has retired from hunting because he's married to Piper Perabo. Perabo? I've never said that name out loud. Perabo? I don't know. He is a deaf and mute bear conservationist. You just can't make this shit up. She touches the ground to find out if a bear's nearby. Then Billy Bob Thornton shows up as a know-it-all badass who's seeking revenge against the bears. Apparently he went on a crazy bear hunting spree.
I mean, a man's got to do what he's got to do to survive.
He's like a serial killer of bears.
Nasty son of a bitch.
So the cast are essentially either very attractive or brilliant character actors or a combination of both. But that doesn't save the movie though. It's taking itself way too seriously, but it's very fast paced, which is a good thing. Essentially the plot is all of them just going on a bear hunt and it's just like a meandering mess through the woods. If you go down to the woods today, you're in for a meandering mess. There's a few good moments in this film. A couple of lumberjacks get attacked by Bart the bear, leaving behind a severed arm attached to a chainsaw still embedded in a tree. Class. And there's a moment where a girl gets a stick impaled through her leg. But mostly it's just them wandering around the woods. It's messy and uninteresting, and you stop caring pretty quickly. Essentially, it's like that Let's All Go on a Bear Hunt song.
Going on a bear hunt.
Going on a bear hunt.
Like it just keeps going on, and you think it's never going to get to the point.
Step, step.
Step, step, step.
But when this movie does get to the point, it's just bad CGI.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
It's a bear.
It's a bear.
It definitely does pick up at the end, but by that stage, you've already checked out. Bart the bear does a good job, though. Fair fucks, Bart. Get that bear some honey. And then the movie ends as suddenly as it starts. Meh. What did I learn from this movie? I learned that it's very hard to believe that someone could lip read Billy Bob Thornton's drawl. And I also learned that you should never say you're retiring when a killer bear is hunting you. So that's Into the Grizzly Maze. Don't bother. 2 out of 5 marmalade sandwiches. I mean, this was kind of a hard choice. Both movies weren't that good. Backcountry really made me angry, but it does have that awesome bear attack. So I'm going with the brief glimpse of awesome filmmaking. But really, if you want to watch a better movie about bears, watch Paddington. And if you score it right, it'll even make a scarier film. And that's a terrifying hard stare. Thank you for watching Reviews in a Rabbit Onesie. I've been Dan Leith. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share, subscribe. And if you want me to review anything else, then please leave a comment underneath. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay sane, and give a nice bear wave goodbye.
Bye.
Finn.